It's in your nature I'm blessed. It's in the cradle of your smile I rest. Was in the grass upon my back. On this I contemplated a smile upon my face. And I knew that I was done with being clever. Oh, something simple told me I'd be happy, spending all my heart on sweet forever. Oh, love, feel fearless when you're near. I was not so long ago bound up in war, but I cannot seem to stop smiling and late. And I always said to you that I'd be honest. So I say grace has gifted me this happy state, singing on wherever you go, I'll be there beside you. Beside you. Oh, oh, Really take me from the fighter's ring to be a quiet man down the art of listening. 'Cause I heard too much of myself those days, and I found I missed the parlance of your ways. Well, I'm going to keep my ears close to the ground and hear your voice above the stampede trampling high. Oh, heaven knows that I'm living on the side. Your voice and day the light came through the clouds, singing, oh. so far gone, falling through the surface of the sun. Now here I am, blinded by the endless sun, 'cause I cannot survive the distant blue.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome you to the 47th induction ceremony of the Blue Raider Hall of Fame. My name's Chip Walters. I'll be your master of ceremonies tonight as we honor 6 individuals with the highest honor that Blue Raider Athletics can bestow upon its student athletes. In the 111-year history of the university, only 170 individuals have been enshrined among the thousands who have won the blue and white. As we get started tonight, let's meet the current Hall of Famers who are with us this evening. First of all, from the class of 1993, a Blue Raider player, coach, and athletic director, he led the Blue Raiders to 140 wins on the gridiron. Please welcome Coach Boots Donnelly. From the class of 2010, he was the architect of the great Blue Raider defenses of the 80s and 90s. Please welcome Coach Ed Bunio. From the class of 2020, he led MTSU's baseball team to 4 consecutive conference championships during a splendid career at shortstop. Let's meet Clay Snellgrove. From the class of 2020, he's the all-time home run leader at MTSU and a former first-round pick of the Boston Red Sox. Please welcome Bryce Brentz. From the class of 2019, he was the point guard that led MTSU to its first OVC championship and NCAA tournament appearance in 1975. Welcome, Jimmy Martin. From the class of 2017, he's the all-time winningest basketball coach in Middle Tennessee history and a member of 8 Halls of Fame. Please welcome legendary coach Rick Insell. From the class of 2015, he's a 2-time OVC Offensive Player of the Year and amassed more than 4,000 total yards in his great career. Please welcome Kippy Bayless. From the class of 2015, he was the Sun Belt Player of the Year in 2001 while hitting .381 for his career. Welcome Josh Rennick. From the class of 2014, he was the big man in the middle and a member of the Blue Raider 1,000 Point Club. Welcome Kerry Hammond Sr. From the class of 2011, in the 4 seasons he played at Middle Tennessee, he had 33 home runs, 159 RBIs, and 245 hits. He's Mudcat Brewer. From the class of 2007, he still ranks 2nd all-time in scoring average for basketball with the Blue Raiders without the three-point line, and he has averaged more than 18 points per game in his career. Please welcome Larry Stewart. If you wanted to run the ball downhill in the 1980s, the class of 2006 brought us Vince the Flea Hall. From the class of 2004, he was part of the 1977 OVC Baseball Championship, and the Blue Raider Clubhouse bears his name. Please welcome Steve Smith. From the class of 2002, the OVC Baseball Player of the Year in 1982, he played in 215 big league games for the Baltimore Orioles. Welcome Kenny Gerhardt. From the class of 2000, he was the OVC Tennis Player of the Year in 1980 and head tennis coach for 20 years. Say hello to Dale Shorts. From the class of 1995, a three-time All-OVC performer, George Claxton. From the class of 1998, he averaged over 6 yards a carry and helped lead Middle Tennessee to a #1 national ranking in 1985 before playing 14 seasons in the NFL. Meet Dwight Stone. From the class of 1990, he starred on the baseball diamond in 1965 through 67. He's the king of Smyrna, Coon Victory. Class of 1976, an original Hall of Fame member. He was named the OVC Football Player of the Decade for the 1960s, also hit .411 in baseball, and until 2 weeks ago was the only Blue Raider football player to have his jersey retired. Please welcome Teddy Morris. And now let's meet the class of 2022. Welcome Leslie Clark Vance. Crystal Horton. Kevin Kanaski. Sandy Neal. Brian Peck. And Don Thomas. Out of this great group of Hall of Famers on the stage, something, a little piece of trivia here. Coach Donnelly and Coach Insel are here with us tonight. They're both in the National Halls of Fame of their respective sports. Before we recognize our recipients tonight, it's my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Sidney A. McPhee, president of Middle Tennessee State University. You know, I told Dr. McPhee a moment ago I have the formal introduction, but you all, everybody here knows who he is and what he has done. But, you know, he's busting with pride over the last 30 hours or so, because yesterday he presided over the ribbon cutting and the opening of the new concrete and construction management building here on campus. And earlier today at lunchtime, they inducted new members of the Golden Raiders Society. At 4 o'clock today, we passed out alumni awards for distinguished alumnus members and those who received the certificate of distinction here on campus. It's one of the most fun days that he has during the year. Dr. McPhee is married, of course, to the First Lady Elizabeth McPhee, and they have 2 adult children, Dr. Sidney Anthony McPhee and Dr. Seneca McPhee. Please welcome Dr. Sidney McPhee, the president of Middle Tennessee State University.
Thank you and good evening. Good evening. It's always my pleasure to welcome you to the beautiful campus of Middle Tennessee State University and to the Kennons Hall of Fame. Isn't this a beautiful scene? Give yourselves a round of applause for being true Blue Raiders. I always look forward to this time of the year. As Chip said, we welcome back so many of our alums that are responsible for really building and laying the foundation that has made this university one of the great universities in the United States of America. We are proud of all of our alums, but we particularly are proud of our Hall of Fame inductees and those who are going to be inducted in the Hall of Fame tonight. Now, I know there are a lot of families that are out here that are witnessing this. I would love for all the family of our inductees, soon-to-be inductees, to stand and let us thank you for what you've done to help them to get where they are tonight and today. Please stand and let's give you a round of applause. Quite impressive, quite impressive. Thank you for your support. You know, I'm in my 22nd year as president of this great university and have been really blessed to work with some incredible faculty, staff, administrators. I also want to really acknowledge one of our inductees who is the chairman of our board of trustees and has done tremendous work to help this university be where it is today. Chairman Smith, would you stand? And his wife is here with us. Would you all stand and let's thank you for all that you do for this great university. Thank you. Out of the 6 inductees, and they all are incredible. When you read their bio, it really blows you away. And as I mentioned to our 50th year Blue Raider reunion and also to our distinguished alums, ladies and gentlemen, we have 150,000 alumni all over the United States and literally all over the world. So what an honor it is, out of 150,000 alums, to be recognized as a distinguished alum or the select group of Hall of Famers in this great university. Let's give them all a round of applause for their great work. The First Lady and I, Liz McPhee, and she's here. Let's give a round of applause for her support of this great university. Liz? We would not be the university we are today without the tremendous accomplishment of many of our alums. Your university is on the move. We're no longer that little middle. We're no longer the best kept secret in the United States. For the 4th year in a row, MTSU has been recognized as one of the best 300+ universities in the United States of America out of 5,000 universities. Only 4 universities in the state of Tennessee made that list. 2 privates, 2 publics. The private, Vanderbilt, some university in Nashville. Rhodes College in Memphis. And the 2 publics, MTSU, your university. And if you're waiting for me to tell you that second public is, you're going to be here all night. All you need to know is that MTSU is regarded as one of the top universities in the United States of America. And it's because of the alums and the supporters that we have at this university. $1.5 billion worth of new construction. Academic programs that are ranked nationally. Who do we have to thank? Our alums. Ask the University of Miami. They all know where Middle Tennessee is now, right? Be proud of your university. We continue to move this university forward, and we want you to be shameless in supporting and getting the word out about this great institution. So, inductees, congratulations. We know that you'll continue to do great things. We are all very proud of you. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful, wonderful induction ceremony.
Well, as you can imagine, on a homecoming weekend, Dr. McPhee has lots of commitments, so just let you know up front, he may be heading out to his next one here pretty shortly, but he was wanting to be here tonight to welcome you all back to campus. Chris Massaro enters his 18th year as Middle Tennessee, looking to build upon the unparalleled success the athletic department has realized since he was named athletic director in 2005. During his tenure, the Blue Raiders have realized its great athletic and academic successes, as evidenced by the record-setting performances by all 17 sports. For the last 13 years, all 17 of Middle Tennessee's athletic teams have earned a multi-year APR rate of over 930. Football, men's golf, women's golf, volleyball, baseball, and women's basketball, along with women's tennis, softball, and men's cross country, have each received NCAA public recognition awards for being ranked in the top 10% of their sport. The Blue Raiders have also realized tremendous growth with facilities, which includes the current $100 million Bill Blue campaign. If you would, please welcome the Director of Athletics at Middle Tennessee, Chris Massaro.
Thanks, Chip, and thank you all for coming to this very, very special evening. And tonight we reflect on our history, we look forward to our future, and I'd be remiss if I didn't thank my predecessor, because we inherited a lot to have some success. So Coach Donnelly, thank you for everything you did as athletic director as well. And Coach Earl, who's not here tonight, but Coach Earl is an ex-AD that lives here in town as well. And I'd like to thank Dr. McPhee and Liz for their continued unwavered support for athletics. So none of us would enjoy any kind of success if it weren't for their support. And of course, Steve Smith, chairman of the Board of Trustees, and his wife, Denise. And I think we're probably the only school in the country whose chairman of the Board of Trustees is also in the Athletic Hall of Fame. So that's very, very good for us as a university and for an athletic department. So Steve, thanks for everything you do. At next year's induction ceremony, this is great, but the scene behind you will look totally different. You'll be looking at an active construction site, as we'll be approximately halfway through our 87,000 square foot, $66 million student athletic performance center, right there where the weight room currently is. This will be a huge, yeah, let's give that a, thanks, Lee. This will be a huge step in attracting, retaining, and improving all of our student athletes' performance. The building will help build upon the legacy of this year's outstanding class of inductees and will also attract future Hall of Famers. To this year's class, you guys have left an indelible mark on our university. For 3 of you, I've had the great joy of watching your greatness firsthand. Leslie, you were a quarterback of our volleyball team, and it was the greatest volleyball run we've ever had in the history of the school. Crystal, I could arguably say the same thing about you and the teams that you played on in women's basketball. So it was a joy to watch you play as well. Kevin, I enjoyed watching your unselfish and smart play. And as we watched you, everybody in the audience could tell that you were a coach's son. So thanks for all your grit and hard work. To the other 3, I've heard many stories about your prowess as well. Sandy, I've had the pleasure of knowing you post-coach, post-player, but you've always been a trailblazer. And I thank you for everything you've done for this university. Brian, you're still a legend, and your hitting statistics are amazing. So he's in the top 10 in all the categories. And Don, to make All-American is an incredible accomplishment. And it's also an incredible accomplishment to go 11-0 in that 85 team and be one of the leaders of it. So thank you for everything you did for football as well. So thank you, inductees, for leaving such a legacy for everyone to build on. Congratulations on your accomplishments, and it's my distinct honor to welcome you to the Hall of Fame. It is also my privilege to present the Athletic Directors Award. And this award is designed for somebody who does Hall of Fame work for the Blue Raiders, but isn't necessarily inducted into the Hall of Fame. However, their name and contributions will never be forgotten and will be on display as one enters the Kennan building by the midget conference room. Our first award winner was Jim Simpson, and Jim kind of embodies everything of this award. And so Jim and Tony and Ed Arney and everybody who put together this evening's ceremony, thank you so much, and let's have a hand for those guys. This year's winner is very near and dear to many of us, and I'm confident many people in the audience will consider him a personal friend. I think that if you ask anyone about this winner, they'll tell you a story about how this person spent a great deal of time trying to make the other person better. That is already an amazing legacy. One of the things that we try to do is surprise our recipient, and I'm not sure our recipient is here tonight. So is Drew Shea. Are you out there in the audience? I haven't seen Drew. Come on up, Drew. Come on up. I'm going to embarrass Drew a little bit. And Kevin, you were the hook, because we said Kevin has requested that Drew Shea be here. And so we wanted to surprise Drew. And Drew started off here in 2005. He was our basketball athletic trainer, and then he grew in his job. And he's retiring from MTSU next month as Associate Athletic Director for Sports Medicine. In all my years in this industry, I've not met a trainer with a better bedside manner than Drew Shea. He is compassionate and firm and has all the qualities that a parent would want someone to have in supervising their child's medical care. Kevin, I know you could certainly attest to that as well. But let me be clear about Drew. He's more than just training skills alone, because he represents so much more. When I look at Drew, I just think of somebody that's true blue. He's always willing to help the athletics department in anything that we do. He co-chaired the Bill Blue Committee with Andy Womack that helped raise $16 million thus far. He has helped with sports supervision, helped with head coaching searches, including helping hire Nick McDevitt. He spends countless hours helping the Blue Raiders be successful. As I said earlier, he is true blue. Drew is retiring from MTSU in late November, will continue to be an important part of our fabric. It is my distinct honor to give the athletic awards to my good friend and colleague, Drew Shea.
This year's class has 6 very deserving honorees. And for the first time, we have 3 men, 3 women. On this 50th anniversary of Title IX, it's truly a reflection of how your university sees the importance of athletics across the board and women's athletics in particular. I have a special message tonight that I was asked to deliver. When you think women's athletics at Middle Tennessee, what name pops up? Diane Turnham? There you go. She had a message especially for Sandy, Leslie, and Crystal. She's on the road with volleyball tonight. Says, I want you all to know how very happy I am for 3 incredible women to go in our Hall of Fame as we celebrate 50 years of Title IX, and each of them made incredible marks within our programs. Sandy was an incredible mentor to me and helped me so much as I began my career at MTSU. She is truly a trailblazer. Each of the 6 nominees and inductees are so well-deserving. I'm so unhappy that I can't be here tonight, but my heart is with you this evening. So that from Diane Turnham to all of our inductees tonight, especially our 3 ladies. So give her a nice round of applause. All right, it's time to induct 6 new members of the Blue Raider Hall of Fame. Our leadoff tonight is Leslie Clark Vance, volleyball 2006 to 09. Leslie Clark Vance enjoyed a career of significant achievements during her time on the Blue Raider volleyball team from 06 to 09. The talented setter ended her career with 5,692 assists, becoming the first Blue Raider volleyball player to surpass the 5,000 assist mark. She helped lead Middle Tennessee to 4 NCAA tournament appearances, which included a run to the Sweet 16 in 2007. The setter played a major role in the team's 2 regular season Sun Belt Conference titles and 3 Sun Belt Conference tournament titles. At the completion of her career, Leslie ranked first all-time for career assist and career assist per set, marks that she still owns 13 years later. She's also 9th all-time in career block assist. And tonight, she becomes the 171st member of the Blue Raider Hall of Fame. Please welcome Leslie Clark Vance.
everyone. First of all, thank you to everyone involved for the work that went into putting this weekend of recognition and celebration together. I'm honored to be here taking part along with these other inductees. Ever since I received the invitation for this weekend, aside from the panic that I've felt about these next few minutes right here, it's been surreal opening doors back in time, similar to C.S. Lewis's The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, when the four Pevensey children come across the lantern in the forest and walk back through the magical wardrobe to their life in London. It does feel as if another lifetime has suddenly become real again and is no longer a dream of a dream. As I've stepped back through the wardrobe to MTSU, my ability to recall specific details is a little bit pathetic. However, what I have found is that the gratitude I hold for the people I experienced MTSU with has only grown since I've left. Isn't it a beautiful thing that the what and the how can easily be lost and forgotten, but the who is what sticks? When I think back, I'm grateful first for the love and support of a family that cheered me on and supported me through years and years of sports endeavors. My parents, my grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, and nephews. I'm blessed, but not surprised that many of them were able to be here today. During my time here, my family became a staple up in the stands at the old AMG. Friday nights as the team was warming up, I'd wait for them to come through those doors up ahead with their big "I love you" signs waving and hear my dad's booming, "Let's go blue." I'm also grateful to have been gifted with the athletic abilities that allowed me to experience the game of volleyball at a level it can be most appreciated. What I love about volleyball is that it is truly a team sport in nature. Each contact on the ball is dependent on the other. Without a solid passing foundation, a setter's job quickly becomes a game of just keep the ball alive. And without hitters who can put the ball down, it doesn't matter how great a set was. A setter is only as good as the 5 other players on the court with her. I happen to be constantly surrounded by phenomenal athletes with tremendous work ethic. However, I believe that this alone wouldn't have been nearly enough to get us to the heights we reached together. A few years ago, I took a course on coaching, and one thing I learned was that the main difference between men's and women's teams and how each tends to build strong team chemistry, respectively. Men's teams typically have a battle to bond rhythm, which means that trust and mutual respect for one another is built through battling out together come game time. But for women, the opposite tends to be true, where women bond to battle, meaning that in order for us to perform our best and battle well, a team typically has previously built that trust in one another, a trust that they are supported and they're entering into battle together. I never had doubt once that we were in it together. The work and dedication we put in for each other and the support we offered one another through the day-to-day workouts, the practices, and all of our time together outside the gym enabled us to battle together like family on game nights. Like I said before, I have a hard time digging up many specific memories, but there are some things I can remember as if they were yesterday. Like, for instance, the feeling in the pit of my stomach when the game got tight and the pressure would rise, and how one reassuring glance from Ashley Wall with a well-timed joke would calm the nerves right down. I remember the way a hit buried on the 10-foot line by Ashley Asbury would turn the momentum of the game right back in our direction. Or the electric way that Ashley Mead woke us out of a lull after a massive stuff block. Ironically, now as an anesthesiologist, she has the opposite effect on people. I also remember the fight that would stir up in my spirit to have Ashley Adams turn to me and say, "Les, give me the next set, I want it." Yes, it's true, your name had to be Ashley to play with me. But really, I could go on and on about each Ashley and non-Ashley I shared the court with. Our coaches that pushed us to be the best, and the support staff that strengthened and healed us, and how each and every person's unique gifts brought exactly what was needed to create a culture of winning. So basically what I'm saying is that to accept this honor as an individual quite honestly feels a little bit ridiculous. I'm honored to be here as the setter for what was a special group to come through a historical moment in MTSU. The banners that our team hung in the gym, especially the one that reads Sweet 16, forever will tell about our time in this school's history and the mark that we made for MTSU volleyball, and I'm so thankful to have taken part in it. However, the one trophy I did earn on my own, the greatest, most valuable trophy I took away from my time here, was my wonderful husband, Josh. You have been the bridge to this old life of mine and the life we've built together. And the support you have given me and the counseling you've offered me and getting geared up for the speech is noteworthy. Thank you, buddy. I'm also grateful to my kids. Thank you for stepping back in time with me and seeing a little bit of what mom's life looked like before you guys. Also for celebrating with me. Lindley, Gareth, Dalton, and Annalise, I'm grateful to have you guys as my new team. Lastly, I have one extra special thank you to you, Lindley, for sharing your birthday weekend with me. I know this probably isn't standard protocol here, but you all gave me the microphone. So, would you all please help me make this night a little more special for my almost 11-year-old daughter by joining me in singing happy birthday to her? All right, 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Lindley. Happy birthday to you. Thank you.
Our next inductee is Brian Peck, baseball from 1999 to 2000. Brian Peck was a quiet leader both on and off the field during Middle Tennessee's final 2 seasons in the Ohio Valley Conference. Peck helped lead MTSU into the 2000 Clemson Regional, where they reached the region final. Brian was a Louisville Slugger, collegiate baseball All-American, and a 2-time first-team All-OVC selection in 1999 and 2000. He was also MVP of the 2000 OVC tournament. Peck's greatest impact came at the plate. More than 2 decades following the completion of his career, Peck's stats and achievements litter the Blue Raider record book. In just 2 seasons, Peck posted a career batting average of .373, which is 5th all-time, with 34 home runs, 8th all-time, and a .720 slugging percentage, 2nd all-time. At the completion of his career, Peck was drafted by the Colorado Rockies in the 2000 Major League Baseball first-year player draft. And if you ride through Smyrna and you see a fire truck, Brian might be on it. Please welcome the 172nd member of the Blue Raider Hall of Fame, Brian Peck. You're going to do great.
Good evening. Thank you, sweetie. First of all, I'd like to take a second just to congratulate my fellow inductees. I can appreciate the work that you put in to get here, and it's odd to me how up here we're terrified. Down on the field or on the court, easy. This is the most terrifying thing I've done, and for those of you that really know me, know exactly how uncomfortable I am. For those of you that don't, you're soon to find out. I promise. First, I'd like to start off with some thank yous. I'm thankful that although my wife and boys didn't know me during my days at MTSU, they're able to come up and share this time with me. Coach McGuire, haven't seen you tonight, but I hope you're here. There's not much else I can say. You're awesome. I'm thankful that you made an effort to recruit me and convince Coach Pete to take a chance on somebody he felt like was undersized. You and Tom Whitehead, you guys made the effort to get me here, and I appreciate it. I wish Pete were here. I'd like the opportunity to thank him. I miss him. He was old school. He wasn't like any other coach I'd ever had. People have asked me about him. I've had trouble explaining to people what he was like. And this has given me a little bit of time to reflect a little deeper. And the thing I liked about Pete is that he just never seemed to get flustered. He was kind of an old school guy. And he wasn't out there with me teaching me how to take ground balls or fly balls or teaching me how to hit. That was what Mags was doing, working on fundamentals. For me, Coach Pete was that guy that just, nothing ever bothered him. He taught me how to shake off mistakes. You know, you could go out there and have an error and let 6 runs in. He'd come up to me and say, "Hey, this park can't hold you, Peck. Well, we had a 3-run homer." All right, Coach. Now, don't get me wrong, the next day of practice, he was the guy who hit me an extra 100 ground balls and take me out in the outfield as well, but he was never flustered. And I remember a quick story about Pete. I was at the plate one game, and I just turned on an inside fastball and hammered it down the third base line. It hits Pete square in the back. I was like, "Oh, Lord, I've killed him." I looked over to see if the trainer's coming out. He's just sitting there. I looked back down the line, and Pete's staring at me, giving me signs. I was kind of just stared at him blankly. I was like, then I kind of got my feelings hurt. I'm like, I hit that really hard. Yeah. He didn't even take a knee. He just started giving me signs. But that's who he was. Sorry, finding my place again. I'd also like to make a special thank you to one of my buddies, Will. I've known you since before high school, buddy, and you still make the effort to come up and support my career. I appreciate you. You came down to Clemson and watched us. One of my best memories, though, was when I was playing pro ball out in Franklin. We weren't even at the home field. And I had just gotten called up to the next level and to high A, and that happened to hit a home run. And as I'm rounding the bases, I looked up and I saw you in the stands. You were the only one standing up clapping. So it was easy to spot you. And for those of you that know Will, he's animated. And he's up there, and you could tell he wasn't a fan of the team, but he was my fan. And I appreciate you, buddy. I thank you for that. Now, if you guys please bear with me, I'm going to talk about my parents a little bit. I might get emotional. They're my first coaches. They're sitting out here. It makes it hard. Sorry. My mom likes to tell the story about how she had to drag me on the field, kicking and screaming, my first time out. And then she had to drag me off the field, kicking and screaming. It was right after that. I don't remember that. But what I do remember is my first baseball memory involves her. I had an at-bat. It was in T-ball. I don't remember what happened, but I know it wasn't good because I was pouting. I tend to pout. And I guess I decided that I was going to walk out to my position on the field to let everybody know that I was mad. And the next thing I know, my first memory is being snatched up by my mother and her telling me, "You don't ever walk on that baseball field. Next time you try to walk on this field, I'll take you off of it." And I never walked on the baseball field ever again. And that was my first lesson in baseball and my first lesson about respect. Respect for the game. The game's been here before me. The game will be here after you, so respect it. Take it serious. And then there's my poor old dad. I bounced so many balls off his knees, ankles, shins. Be out on the top driveway just hitting ground balls to me. He'd have a glove on one hand and a T-ball bat in the other hand and just smacking ground balls on the driveway. We tore up so many baseballs, we finally had to go steal a rubber ball from the local batting cage. But it was impressive. And looking back now, I think I can see him when it was time to do pitching practice just deflate a little bit because he knew those ankles were going to take a beating. But I appreciate everything that you guys did for me. I don't think I'll ever know or fully appreciate the sacrifices that you made to get me where I am, which is here. And I thank you both, and I love you both. Now to my teammates. You guys are special to me. When I started thinking about this speech, I really started digging deep into my memories about my years at Middle with you guys. Don't worry, I'm not going to tell them all. You're safe. Your political career can stay intact. I remember all the good times we had at Nick's Hall. I remember taking our $20 per diem money on the road and playing poker with it. 5:30 workouts, team meetings at La Siesta down the street. You know, Treadway sneaking into Kyle and I's room to take a muffin because he thought we already went to class. The good things. We also had an amazing run on the field. My senior year was very special. We started out slow, but we turned it on and turned it around quick. 13 to 14 game win streak. Able to win the OVC tournament, make a regional. We showed up there too. We lost the first night to a Clemson team that was eventually going to the College World Series and whose coach is now coaching at Vanderbilt. And after losing that first night, we came out the next day and won 2 elimination games on that day. And then we played Clemson again, a championship game, and we won't get into that. But we ended in one of the top 32 teams left in the country, and I'm very proud of that. Baseball had a huge impact on my life. I'm thankful for the lessons that it taught me, the friends it gave me, and the memories it gave me. Thank you again, everyone.
Our next inductee is Sandy McMillan Neal. Women's tennis, 1973 to 76. Sandy Neal was a 4-year letter winner for the Middle Tennessee women's tennis team. In 1972, she was a walk-on to the women's team as scholarships for women athletes were not yet available. In the spring of 1976, she signed the first scholarship ever awarded to a female at Middle Tennessee. And she had also ascended as the #1 singles and doubles player. Sandy would go on to become the first full-time women's tennis coach at Middle Tennessee in 1977. She led the women's tennis program to 3 conference championships and was a 4-time OVC Coach of the Year. She was also the first full-time volleyball coach at Middle Tennessee. She would later move to the classroom where she spent 30 years as a professor in the Hypers department. In all, she spent 49 years serving Middle Tennessee. And tonight, we welcome her as the 173rd member of the Blue Raider Hall of Fame.
Hey. Okay. I want to tell you a little bit about what MTSU means to me, how I ended up here, in other words. My experiences as an MTSU player are a little bit different than most, certainly the players coming through today. Most players are great at their sport before they ever come to MTSU. My experience is a little different. I didn't come to Middle for my sport. I didn't even play my sport when I came to Middle. But I specifically came because I loved MTSU and had planned on coming here since I was 10 years old. So when you think about what makes it special to me and what might make it special to other people, it's really random. But the big experience I had was when I was 9 years old, my sister decided she was going to college, and nobody in my family had ever been to college. And so she wanted to come to MTSU. So my family loaded the car up, put my sister in it and her stuff, and we brought her over here to MTSU. I can remember from that couple of hours sitting outside the freshman dorm while she and her friends were carrying everything in and laughing and giggling and all this kind of stuff. So for a little 10-year-old sister, it really made quite the impression. I knew from that moment on that I was going to MTSU, and my blood was already blue. So that's what my decision was from that moment on. And my friends would say, let's go look at this college and see what we think about that. No, I'm going to MTSU, over and over. So they got a little tired of hearing that. But I officially became a Blue Raider in the fall of '72. And coincidentally, 2 months prior to that, June of '72, Title IX was passed. I had no clue what Title IX was, never heard anything about it, or what impact it might have on my life someday. MTSU did have a tennis team at that time, but they barely received any funding. We had a different graduate assistant for a coach each year. We got money for gas to reimburse one player for driving the whole team in their car, to the tennis match and back. And if it was a real late match, we got to drive through Wendy's on the way home. So, it was kind of a tough situation as far as money, but we didn't realize that. We were happy to be there and happy to get anything that we could get as far as support. We've already mentioned that the scholarships were given out that first spring of '76. There was 3 that semester. Jan Zitney, you might remember Jan from basketball. She got one of the scholarships. Margie Nix, one of the tennis scholarships, as well as myself. And actually, my scholarship's inside. If you want to go see it afterwards, my maiden name was McMillan, so you'll see that on there. And I'm very proud of the scholarship I got from MTSU. No woman had ever received a scholarship from MTSU, so, it was quite the honor. I started playing tennis in the fall of '72 in an activity class. I got lucky, and the men's tennis coach was actually teaching that class. And so over the semester, he saw that I was an athlete, had played some other things, and he came to me and he said, "You need to try out for the tennis team." I said, "Okay." So I went out for the tennis team and barely made the team by the skin of my teeth. So when that season started, I was last man on the totem pole. I was number 8. And then, I really loved it, so I spent way too much time on the court. Even had to change majors because pre-physical therapy had labs all afternoon. And guess where I was going to be all afternoon? I had a lot of making up in the tennis. So I switched majors. So that I didn't have to give up my afternoons. My first real opportunity in coaching when I finished my undergraduate work was basically that same thing that we had had all those years, a graduate assistantship. Still didn't have that full-time women's coach yet. But at the end of that year, I was offered the first MTSU tennis coach full-time position. And of course, I jumped on it. Everything was going crazy fast, but I was just holding on and wanting to be a part of it. I can remember after Pat offered me the full-time position for the women's tennis, going outside so excited to the tennis courts. All my friends were at the tennis courts. That's the only place we ever were. And told them, I just been offered the full-time head tennis position, that I was going to get to coach the women's tennis team. And one of my friends looked over, male, but excuse me, it wasn't, it was just happened to be a lot of them playing tennis. And I told him I'd gotten that job, and he said, "They are not going to pay you $10,000 to coach a women's team." And that was just kind of the attitude of that time. We knew women didn't get the money yet, and so he truly didn't believe that I'd been offered that position. Also, this was a very personal, a time in my life that was very personal. I met my husband, Bill, during that time in '72. And I met him the first day he came to MTSU. We were actually from the same city and had never met. And so when he came up, of course, we both were on the tennis court, so we started playing mixed doubles a lot. We weren't dating, we were just friends. And over time, it did develop into dating, and we got married during spring break when I was a GTA. I ended up coaching for 15 years, left coaching in '92 because my kids were growing up while I was away on trips. And in those 15 years, I did have some conference titles, some personal achievements. And so, you know, there's a lot of folks I have to give a big shout out to. Dick LaLance, certainly right at the top of the list. Dick started coaching the same time I did, but he had a whole background of experience for coaching. So I spent quite a bit of time asking questions and finding out, you know, some experience of how to handle some of these things. And I have to tell you, another mentor I consider a mentor, he probably doesn't remember my name, was Boots Donnelly. And I remember the first time I went to his office and knocked on the door, and he looked up at me, and I said, "Can I ask you something, Coach?" And he just kind of looked at me. And so I proceeded to tell him about a situation that I had going, and I wanted to find out what his advice was. And he looked at me again, and he said, "What was your name?" So that was kind of what we were handling that year. So it was really a great time, 49 years of true blue, just loving it. And I'm at an avid group of players in the community, so you know, I've really moved along through various places with my tennis, as far as, you know, the tennis team, and then friends that I've played with in town and in tournaments. So I'm forever grateful for all of you.
Did want to make mention, as we have this wonderful group of Hall of Famers on the stage tonight, and you know, still hasn't been that long since we lost Coach Dean Hayes, and here recently we lost George Camp. But tonight, Jan Hayes is here, Aaron Hayes are here. Please give them a welcome back to campus, if you will. Well, time to go from the tennis court to the basketball court. Our next inductee is Crystal Horton. From women's basketball, 2003 to 2007. Crystal Horton is one of the 2 players in Lady Raider history to start for teams that won games in 3 NCAA tournaments, 04, 05, and 07. Crystal was a dynamic player on both ends of the court, utilizing her speed and size to become a dominant force. Horton is a member of the 1,000-point club with 1,523 career points, placing her 10th on the all-time scoring list, and she's also in the top 10 all-time for rebounding with 746. She's one of just 6 Lady Raiders on the career top 10 list for both scoring and rebounding. The versatile Horton is in the top 10 of 7 all-time categories at Middle Tennessee. During her career, the Lady Raider record, 98-32, winning 3 regular season conference championships and 4 conference tournament championships. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 174th member of the Blue Raider Hall of Fame, Crystal Horton.
I have to be honest, I thought they were going to say Kevin was next. I was not prepared. But I want to thank you so much for this incredible honor and blessing to be up here. Congratulations to my fellow inductees for the class of 2022. I've come to a few of these ceremonies in support of my former teammates, Patrice Holmes, Amber Holt, and Chrissy Givens, never thinking that one day I would have this opportunity to stand before you. But here I am, by the grace of God. God blessed me with such a gift and talent in playing this game that I love and ordering my footsteps, to have such, oh, I'm sorry, I'm nervous right now. Whew. God bless me with such a gift and talent in playing this game that I love and ordering my footsteps, to have such an opportunity as this, and I thank him for that. I'm also thankful for all of the women who came before me and pushed for us to have equal opportunity to play this game, opening doors for young women like me and young girls that are coming up now, especially for my daughter, who I hope to one day will follow in my footsteps. I thank my parents for putting up with me all of these years and sacrificing. I have the most amazing parents in the world, and if you know them, you know that they are truly the best. I thank y'all for always believing in me and supporting my dreams, no matter what they were. My dad for pushing me to play, even though I wanted to be a ballerina at heart. Taking me to ball games to study the game, shooting with me in the backyard, and even when our goal was in the garage for time being. And my mom for dragging me out of the car as I cried going into Hooptown for practice, and hugging me and telling me I had a good game, even though I know I played terribly. Traveling up and down the highways, checking in and out of hotels, paying those ridiculous tournament fees to watch us play, shouting, "Big dog, hoo, hoo, hoo," every time I blocked somebody's shot, some poor girl's shot, or beat somebody going left. My parents have always been my biggest fans, and they still are. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for all that you have done for me. I don't know where I would be without y'all. I love you. To my family and friends that are here, thank you so much for being here, for your constant guidance and your love, your care, and patience with me over the years. Y'all have been my rock and source of support. I truly appreciate your prayers, words of wisdom, and encouragement through it all. Thank you to the number of coaches that poured into me, from junior pro to my days at Central Middle School to Riverdale High School, the Tennessee Team Pride, and Shelbyville Sports Shop. That was the true, Tennessee flight team, if you didn't know. Then here to MTSU. I know I probably frustrated you as a player, especially since I really showed no emotion as I played, regardless of whether you were yelling and screaming at me to do something or you were talking to me quietly in my ear. All of you played a major role in developing me into the player that I became, and I'm truly thankful for your heart and your time and commitment. When the time came for me to decide where I'd be taking my talents, I knew I wasn't going far. After taking my official visit and spending time with the players and coaches here, I knew this was it. I am thankful for Coach Stephanie Smith offering me a chance to play in my backyard in front of my hometown community, and the chance to come in and make an immediate impact. When I found out that Coach Enzel was going to be our new head coach my junior year, I was like, "Coach Enzel from Shelbyville?" So you have to know my story. So being a former Riverdale player, we always had to go through Shelbyville to make it to state. So we were true rivals. So the Riverdale in me was like, "Oh, no." But the player in me, the baller in me was like, I knew we were going to be successful with him as our leader. I always heard the stories about playing for Coach, so I was a little nervous at first. But after we got rolling and everybody had bought into the system, it was full steam ahead. So thank you, Coach Enzel, for stepping in and making such a smooth transition between our coaching staffs. And thank you for instilling confidence in us that we needed, the confidence that we needed to be able to achieve all of the things that we did. There were some people that didn't really believe in us during those years, but we ended up being even better than we had imagined. So thank you. To my teammates, I'm truly grateful to y'all. God purposely aligned our paths to meet at this particular time in our lives. Out of all the places we could have gone, He planted our feet right here. I would not be standing up here if it were not for y'all. The blood and the sweat and tears, the drama, the drama, all the drama, the smiles, the laughs. Y'all will never know how much you mean to me. I gained true sisters for a lifetime. Thank you to our team managers for always being the first ones to the gym and the last ones to leave. Making sure our uniforms were washed, floors swept, water bottles full, and extra gum readily available. Y'all were the real MVPs. Thank you to Coach Riley for making us stronger and faster in our strength and conditioning program. Thank you to Allison Ness for putting our bodies back together as we got sprains and strains and bruises and bumps and being the super trainer that you are. Thank you to the number of media and communication staff for keeping up with us and covering our games. Thank you to President McPhee and Mrs. McPhee. I will never forget the day that I rang your doorbell attempting to sell you candles, lotion, and body soap as part of a fundraiser when I was younger. I was determined to be the highest seller, so I went big. Thank you for always showing your support and even riding the bus or flying on the plane with us. I don't know how many athletes can say that their president and first lady actually did that. That meant so much to our team. To Chris Massaro and Diane Turnham, thank you for creating an open, welcoming, and supportive environment here at Middle as a student athlete, and always connecting with us at a personal level. It's always like home when I step foot on this campus. And a special thank you to all of our fans. We certainly could not have made it as far as we did without your support. Thank you to you all for being here and sharing this very special honor with us, and for the memories that I will cherish for life. Thank you.
Okay, Crystal, Kevin's next now, so you're happy with that? Our next inductee is Kevin Kanaski, men's basketball, 2006 to 2009. Kevin Kanaski made his mark on Blue Raider men's basketball as one of the best point guards to ever play the position. Kanaski is the only player in program history with at least 1,200 points, 400 assists, and 200 made three-point baskets. A decade removed from his playing career, Kanaski ranks among the top 10 in 10 different all-time categories and is also number 16 in scoring. He's the program's all-time assist leader with 485, and he's just one of 3 players in program history with 400-plus assists. Kanaski's 207 career three-pointers still ranks 3rd all-time. Kevin also ranks in the top 10 all-time for games started. He's 3rd there with 105. Games played, he's 5th there with 124. He has played more minutes in a Blue Raider uniform than anybody with 4,078 minutes. He is now in minutes played per game. He averaged nearly 33 minutes a game. He's 8th in made free throws with 350 and a free throw percentage career 10th all-time at 796. His assist average of 3.9 per game is 7th, and he is 8th all-time in steals with 127. So he put up the numbers and was a great quarterback on the floor for men's basketball. Please welcome the 175th member of the Blue Raider Hall of Fame, Kevin Kanaski.
Thank you. Thanks, Chip, and it's been great coming back here. It's been 12 years since I've been on campus, and to walk today with my wife and kids was really special to me. I couldn't have done this, be up here in front of you, without the help of a lot of people, so I have a lot of people to thank. I'll reiterate what Crystal just said about, I'll start with Dr. McPhee and Mr. Massaro. As I've learned later in life, not everyone has a direct line to the president and athletic director like we did. And they were unbelievable. Me and Mr. Massaro came in together my freshman year, his first year, and I remember him coming and talking to the team. He met with us, he introduced himself, he said, hey, I want everyone in the country to know who Middle Tennessee is. Then he said, and I want to try to get us in a better conference. So most things, like me at 18, he walks out and I'm thinking to myself, this guy isn't making it a year here. He's just not. 18 years later, and everyone in the country does know who Middle Tennessee is, and we did get in a better conference, so he deserves a lot of credit, I feel like. And, you know, you go, I in a lot of places in the country, and everyone does know MTSU, and that's a credit to Chris. Coach Davis, Kermit, I have a great relationship with Kermit. He trusted me early, played me a lot my freshman year. You know, I was trying to think of, you know, it's funny the stories you remember and stories that are appropriate to share with you guys. And, you know, I remember my junior year, we took a team picture, and he was sitting in front of us, in front of me directly. Then I think Nigel Johnson, my roommate at the time, was two people next to us, and there was like streamers on the floor. And Nigel picked up the streamers, he'd ball it up, and he'd reach over right in front of me, and he'd drop it in Coach Davis's hair. Kermit didn't know this was happening, and it was so funny because we just got off a hard practice, and everyone was laughing, and everyone thought it was funny. Well, fast forward a couple hours later, Coach Davis gives me a phone call. Hey, come meet me in my office. I need to talk to you. So I take the really long walk at the time up to his office. I'm racking my brain of every bad thing I've ever done in my life. Like, this is going to come out in this meeting. So I get up there to his office, and he has the balls of confetti laid out on his desk. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, Coach, it wasn't me. He goes, no, sit down. He's like, I go, Coach, it wasn't me. I couldn't tell on my teammate. I said, it just wasn't me. He goes, I am so proud of you. I go, what? He goes, I am so proud of you. This is what I've been talking about. You need to come out of your shell. You need to be more, you know, stop being so shy. Your teammates need this. We need this out of you. I was like, Coach, it wasn't me. And he's like, yeah, I know it was you, and I'm so proud of you. That's how lucky I am. My coach's proudest moment never even happened, and that's how lucky I'm fortunate with. No, I did see Coach Davis. I know he really wanted to be here tonight. I saw him a couple months ago, spent some time with him, and he's been great. A lot of people always ask me why I chose Middle Tennessee. It wasn't for Coach Davis. It was his two assistants, Donnie Tyndall and Matt Woodley. Donnie Tyndall recruited me hard. He loved basketball. You know, he would call me on a Saturday morning my freshman year at like 7:30, 8 a.m., He'd get me and Calvin O'Neill together. He'd yell at us for an hour, work us out. Then afterwards, he'd tell us how much he loved us. And he was just, you know, one of those great basketball minds. One time I remember freshman year, after one of those hard workouts on a Saturday morning, he's like, hey, you know, you're not playing much. Why don't you and Calvin, you know, you guys lay off the chicken fingers on the road? And we're like, what? He's like, yeah, we don't want you gaining weight. I was like, okay, whatever. And so next road trip, I don't get the chicken fingers. I get like a salad. I'm sitting there upset. I'm eating salad, and I look over, and Donnie has 8 chicken fingers on his plate. So I understood what he meant when he said lay off the chicken fingers. Matt Woodley was another assistant. He played college basketball for my dad, who was the coach at Drake at the time. And so I grew up watching Matt play, and when he came here as an assistant, that really sealed the deal for me. So, and again, I talk to these guys all the time and really appreciate them bringing me here. Then after my freshman year, those two left me, and they took other jobs. So It was hard. I was upset about it, and we brought in a guy named Artie Papella, and Coach Papella is here tonight, which means a lot to me. He was different than those two. He really stressed leadership, being a good person, things like that, which really helped me in my development. So I got to spend 3 years with Coach Papella. Really appreciate him. Al Pinkins, he was the only assistant I had for 4 years here, and he was great. Positive, calm, always in a good mood. I saw him a few months ago as well, and he's doing well, and I really appreciate what he's done for me. As Chris alluded to earlier, the man really responsible for my success here, without question, is Drew Shea, the athletic trainer. I missed one game my freshman year, and every other game, and I was hurt a lot, every other game, Drew was able to get me right, get me well enough to play, and I really appreciate that. But more importantly, Drew led by example. He showed us, to work hard, but also to be a good family man. He's one of the best husbands and dads that I've ever been around. He didn't talk about it, we just saw it. And for him to, we would have 5 a.m. practice when we were not playing well, and he would sleep in the training room. He would sleep in the training room the night before so I could come in at 4 a.m. and get ready to be able to go to practice. And I always, Drew, I know I don't ever talk to you, but I do think about you a lot. So you do mean a lot to me. And if I could be half the person Drew is, then I'll be really well off. So I do really appreciate Drew Shea. My teammates, I've had a lot of teammates over the course of my career here, and they all are special, and they all mean a lot to me. I don't have time to go through them all, but there are a few I do want to mention. Boogie, who's here today, the leading scorer. He got in the Hall of Fame last year, as he deserved. I would dribble down the court, throw it to him. He would do all these things and score. Then they would give me an assist and give me credit for it. But Boogie was awesome, such a good player. He played hurt a lot that a lot of people don't know about. But, yeah, he made me look good. Kyle Young, who's here tonight, I haven't seen him in a long time. He was my roommate, our big brother. Kind of took care of me, and he was the mature one of our apartment. Fun fact, I'm not a fighter by any means, but the last fist fight I got in was 13 years ago against Kyle Young. And do you remember this, Kyle? He doesn't remember it, but luckily my roommates were there to break it up, or I probably wouldn't be here. John, I'm ready for round 2 tonight if you want to try. Anyway, John Hobson's here. John's a good friend of mine. Now he's a high school coach in Nashville. John loved basketball more than anybody, and to see him now working with young kids is special. My family, my parents, my mom and sister are here tonight. They sacrificed a lot. When I was here, they would drive 12 hours. My mom would come from Pennsylvania, then stay a couple days, watch me play, then drive back. My sister would come, 11 hours from Iowa to watch me play. So definitely they mean a lot to me too. For what you guys have done, thank you. I don't know how deserving I am to be up here and be in here, but I really do appreciate it, and thank you.
Our final inductee of the night is Don Thomas, who played football here from 1985 to 1988. Exactly. Don Thomas was a leader in every sense of the word on the defensive side of the ball for the Blue Raiders. Thomas was named Associated Press First Team All-American in 1988, when he was also the OVC Defensive Player of the Year. The hard-hitting linebacker from Lincoln County led the Blue Raiders in tackles and interceptions in 1987, while also leading the team in tackles and was second in interceptions in 1988. Thomas burst onto the scene and earned a starting position at linebacker in 1985 when Middle Tennessee posted an 11-0 regular season and was ranked #1 in the nation in the 1AA football poll. He was named a captain of the 1988 team and improved in nearly every statistical category in his final season. And one other thing from watching him play, he's one of the toughest son of a guns that ever played in that stadium right there. And tonight, he's the 176th member of the Blue Raider Hall of Fame. Please welcome Don Thomas.
I'll try not to be too long. I really appreciate and respect all our 2022 inductees. I appreciate being part of your class, and thank you very much for having me with you. I appreciate it. A little bit nervous, you know, not quite my cup of tea either, but going to go through this the best I can. Hopefully that I'll hit the high points and I'll get with everyone that I need to get with, and the ones that if I happen to leave anyone out, I love you anyway. All right. Wow, this is great. This is an honor, and I'm truly blessed. First, I would like to thank God for making it possible for me to have a successful life. I've had opportunities presented to me through sports and football here at MTSU to play a game I love and to also get an education, which in turn led to my being a professional educator and coach. There are sacrifices on a sport. There are sacrifices to play a sport as well as to be part of a team, and I would not trade those times that allowed me to be part of the Blue Raider family. I appreciate everything that happened while I was here, some good, some bad, but I do appreciate being a part of the Blue Raider family. The experiences I had here helped make me the person I am today, and sometimes people ask if I miss playing, and the answer is astoundingly yes. Anyone on this stage that's asked that question, they always miss playing. They would like to play again. They love where they're at. They love their families, but they love playing. And then after they ask that question, they ask if the 3 back surgeries I had, one a mere month before the opening game of my senior year, if that possibly stopped me from playing anymore. And that part I can't answer. I don't know. But God had a path for me, and I couldn't have asked for a better path. Could not. I've been extremely lucky to have great teammates, roommates, trainers, mentors, friends, doctors, coaches, and family who are all put in my path for a betterment to my life. Teammates are hard to mention. There are so many that helped, but I will mention one. He's sitting out here tonight, Tommy Barnes. Tommy Barnes and I came here together from Lincoln County. Tommy was a guy who everyone can remember for who he was and who he is. Tommy was also the guy that, as a freshman, continued to lock his key in his room. He did that quite often, all right? And then when Coach Robbins told him that every time you lock your key in your room, I'm going to have to run you the next morning, all right? Tommy didn't like that very much. So we lived in a dorm named Beasley, and Tommy thought it was smart to scale the edge of the ledge right there from the one room to the other. So he did that about 3 times when he locked his key in there. And then about that 3rd time when he fell from the 3rd story, flat out in the courtyard, he thought running the next morning was not near as tough as bouncing off that courtyard. All right, and we love him for that. That's just Tommy. The next person, let me find my place here. The next person I'd like to mention, or no, I won't mention any other teammates or trainers or roommates because you were and are all special to me. I would like to mention my friend, David O'Connor. He's also here tonight. He pushed me when I didn't want to be pushed. He wanted me to work when I didn't want to work. He motivated me when I didn't want to be motivated. His motivation and drive helped me very much. Fab 5. All right. I would like to mention my roommate, Mike Nurse. He's also here. Mike Nurse, I'd like to say thank you for being such a role model for MTSU and for being my brother. And then when it comes to mentors, there's none other for me than Roosevelt Colvard. Roosevelt Colvard is the career leading tackler over a 4-year career in the history of MTSU. He had a quiet demeanor with vicious hitting capabilities, and I appreciate him leading the way and showing me how to get it done. And next, there were many coaches that had a role while I was here at MTSU. but there are 4 that stick out in my head. One would be Tom Fiveash. He was a tough, hard-nosed man who I respect deeply, but I don't know if I was tough enough to play for. And I felt like I was pretty tough, but that guy was tough. The next would be Alec Robbins. He had a great sense of humor with his southern drawl, his Virginia slang, and he had a lot of things to tell us and a lot of things that we thought were funny, all right, because I thought everything he said was funny, just to listen to him talk. Well, we called a dorm meeting at one time because we thought it was pretty fun to play golf in the courtyard. Well, there's a lot of buildings, a lot of windows, a lot of things go on in that, so you can understand it's not going to turn out well. Well, he called a dorm meeting because we had broken a window. And then when he called the dorm meeting, he told us, he said, "You guys thinking you're on a Palmer. If you were on a Palmer, you would knock it through the window without breaking the glass." And he had a few other words in there, but I'm not going to say those, all right? He always made me laugh, and I appreciated that. And then next there was Coach Bunio. Coach Bunio was my position coach. And at the time, I can't say that I loved every minute of what we did. When he was explaining on how to play the position, and every word during the explanation while you were getting hit in the head, one of those rings, one of those all-conference rings that he had on, he would wear to practice. Don't know why they wore those rings to practice, all right? But then when he would stand there and talk to you, and as he was saying, "I need you to get your butt in gear," that's 9 hits in the head. It's like a rock aside a helmet, all right? And when you just hit Tony Burst on the ISO to play before, you don't know which one's making your head ring. So you just get over it, and you just go on with that. But I appreciate him. And I wish I had more time with him as we speak. He's here tonight, and I really appreciate him showing up. He meant a lot to me. And it wasn't just my play with Coach that he taught me things. He taught me how to be a coach of the position. And I was able to go on and coach linebackers. I had all-state linebackers. I had Mr. Football winners. I've had All-Americans. I've had first-round draft choices in the NFL. I've been successful coaching the position at linebacker, and a lot of that was due to Coach Bunio. I really want to say I appreciated Coach Bunio. Next there was Coach Donnelly. Coach Donnelly I appreciate everything about him. He's the one that got me here. He gave me the opportunity to be here. He always tried to motivate me to be not only be a better player, but to be a better person. With his sarcasm and his quotes, like Don, you don't want to be a great player because you don't practice like you want to be a good one. And I can understand that. I really didn't like practice. I don't know how many people up here did. I like playing the games. I like doing the work. I didn't necessarily like practice sometimes. Or one of the many times, which I hate to admit to this, but one of the many times that he had me sitting in his office on the short couch. He would take the legs off the couch so he could look down and talk to you. He said he didn't do that, but he was not that tall when we were at practice. I promise you that. But, when he was talking about a bad practice or missing curfew, and I was like, when was curfew? I mean, I didn't even know we had one this week. But, missed a couple of those, shouldn't have. But he taught me a lot, and he also taught me that he wanted to tell you things face to face. He wanted to tell you things in person. He wanted to tell you things that would motivate you. And he had a way of aiming it right at your pride. And if you're a prideful person, he had a way to motivate you, so that you would do better. And then when he said things and you didn't, he would just let you know, said if a person doesn't take this and run with it, they didn't really want to be good anyway. So he would work it to where, his motivation was getting his way out of it, but telling you that you were really going to do it anyway. So I really appreciate what he did for me. Late in the last season right there, my senior season, Coach Donnelly pulled me in, and he wanted to sit me out my last 4 games, and I wasn't very happy with that. My back was bad, and was hurting again. He wanted to sit me out, and I said, I gave you 4 years. You can give me 4 weeks. That's my only chance to keep playing. We worked it out, and that was one of the times we disagreed that I felt like I got my way, but I really think he turned it on me somehow, and he just got what he wanted, and I just got to ride in the training van. So, he got what he wanted, and I got what I wanted. So I appreciate that, Coach Donnelly, that letting me finish out right there. I want to thank all my coaches. You did make your mark. I appreciate you. I respect you. And I love all of you. The next person or group that I would like to thank would be Dr. Tom Johns and his staff. They took care of all of us. They showed, and if nothing else the man showed, he showed the power of being able to tell people that you love them with true conviction. A lot of people in our society can't do that. They can't look someone in the eye and say they love them and mean it. It's not a masculine thing to do. But that man told me he loved me every day he saw me. He saw me quite a bit. I was at the doctor most every day. So I just want to say I appreciate him and his family and everything they did to us, everything they did for us. The next group I would like to thank would be my family. Without you, I could not have gotten to this special place. My mom, my sister gave up things throughout life to get me to games, practices, to assure that I had a chance to reach my potential. So I want to say thank you, and I love you both. And they're here. My mom was always my rock all the years leading up to being an adult. She pushed me to be a better man. And well, Mom, we did it, and now I can be your rock because I'm independent. The next group, to my family, to my wife, my children, my grandchildren, you were not around to experience the greatness of what all these people I have mentioned mean, have meant, will mean to me. But if you could imagine, everyone I mentioned and more, they were my family before you. I have been truly blessed to have God, family, and football in my life. All the people I have mentioned here today have had a role at some point to be on my team. I get to have my name in the Hall of Fame because we did it together as a team. I thank you and love you all. In closing, I would like to say this is an honor that you were all part of, and I have been blessed to have everyone I've spoken of, and everyone here in my life. And as for Dr. Tom Johns, I love you.
You know, when we sprung the news on Don back in the summer, he's the principal at Giles County High School. Well, had a football game that night, but miraculously they played last night. So it's good to be the principal. Let's, again, congratulate our class. Leslie Clark Vance, Brian Peck, Sandy McNeil McMillan, Crystal Horton, Kevin Kanaski, and Don Thomas. Give them all a great round of applause. I want to ask our 22 class, Matt Posey wants you right out in front here to take a group photo in just a minute. Everybody else, this is going to wrap it up. We have a reception inside. There's beverages and snacks and food and all that. And if you're out and about at the parade tomorrow, for the first time ever, I think, our Hall of Fame inductees are going to be in the homecoming parade tomorrow. So look forward to that. Hey, everybody, tomorrow when you get out here for homecoming, 3 things. Be loud, be proud, and be blue. Good night, everybody.